Investment research head at F&B Wealth and Investments, Chantal Marx, speaks to us now to further this conversation. Thank you so much for your time, Chantal. It is estimated that about 40 billion rand may be withdrawn. That is, however, said to be lower than the scenario of resignation or voluntary retrenchments. Do tell us about this element.
Yes, absolutely. So the reason why this reform was put in place in the first place was because we did see these kind of forced resignations and the forced take-up of voluntary resignations when people came into serious financial difficulty and had to access money quite quickly. And these withdrawals ended up becoming quite large. You also then had a situation where someone who was previously employed was now an unemployed person. And by withdrawing most of their pension savings at that point in time, really didn't have anything to fall back on in their old age. So what this reform is aiming to achieve is to give you access to a third of your retirement contributions over time, so that if you do have an emergency or hit a financial snag, that money is available to you. Obviously, from a financial planning point of view, we would not want people to just take money out of their savings pot. But the reality is that a lot of people are going to do it. And I think that it might not only go towards financial difficulties, particularly this first time around.
Right. And the consumer boost in terms of sentiment is one area that we should be looking to as a positive if we are to stay within those frameworks and maybe talk about the ripple effects that this will have in the South African economy.
Yes, so I mean, from an economic perspective, we would expect consumption expenditure to pick up, and that will be supportive of economic growth. And then because of those withdrawals, there could actually also be a small boost to the fiscus, and that in turn will be quite positive for bonds and by extension the broader South African market. Also within the South African equity market, we think that the retailers will do quite well because they'll receive a bit of a boost from this, and even the banks, because in other countries where this has been implemented, a lot of people have been using those smaller withdrawals to pay down debt and just make it a little bit easier to get by every month. So we think banks' credit books could improve and they might be able to lend more because of that.
I'm glad you raised that because I was intending to ask about whether South Africa as an economy is ready for this. It's the first time that we are doing it. But pension funds, how likely is this going to change the historic dynamic of that sector?
So I think in the short term, it's had a big administrative impact on pension funds, and I think that the way that the situation has been managed has been extremely, or the situation itself has been extremely tough to implement. And I mean, the proof will be in the pudding next week. We'll see whether or not we have chaos or not. But I think from a overall savings pool, this could actually be longer term positive because you won't get those big withdrawals due to people feeling pushed into a corner to resign or take voluntary retrenchment. You'll get a much more smoother flow profile within that pension and savings industry. And that is why we are not too negative on the stocks of the asset managers and the wealth managers and insurance providers, because we think that this could be a small one-off impact that is then in the base, and it will have a profoundly positive impact on net flows longer term because you won't get those big chunky outflows.
Lastly, Chantal, you touched on it a short while ago. Where on the side of caution should all South Africans be treading?
So, I mean, if you don't need to withdraw from your pension savings, I would not withdraw from my pension savings. The reasons are twofold. Firstly, you're basically taking money away from your future older self, because that money can continue to grow in your pension fund savings and enjoy the power of compound interest on interest. It's really a magical concept. And then the second thing is you're taking that money out and it will be taxed. So it's worth a lot more to you in your retirement vehicle, but unfortunately to your future self. And hopefully people think that way.
Thank you so much for your input. Chantal Marx is with F&B Investments and Wealth, talking to us about the two-pot system. It is coming into effect next month.